المرسلين يا محمد.
Events of the birth and nursing of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was born in the year of the elephant. Two major events occurred in Arab history during the century in which he, peace be upon him, was born. One was the incident involving the Jewish king Du Nuwas, who cast Christians into fiery pits, an event mentioned in the Holy Quran in Surah Al-Buruj. The other was the year of the elephant, during which the Abyssinian and Christian commander Abraha led an expedition to destroy the Kaaba in Mecca. It should be noted that 4 major kingdoms were established in Yemen at different times: Saba, Qataban, Hadramaut, and Himyar. By 300 CE, the kingdom of Himyar had conquered the other 3, laying the foundation for a great Himyarite kingdom. These were idol-worshipping Yemeni nations. The people of Saba worshipped Al-Makka, those of Qataban worshipped Amm, and the Himyarites worshipped Wad. These 3 idols symbolized the moon. In southern Yemen, another idol, Athtar, was also worshipped. At the end of the 4th century CE, the Himyarite rulers of Yemen abandoned idol worship and embraced Judaism. It is said that during an expedition against the Byzantine Empire in northern Arabia, Tuba Abu Karib Asad al-Kamil, a Himyarite ruler, stayed in Yathrib, Medina, and appointed one of his sons as the governor there. When the people of Yathrib killed his son, he besieged the city and burned the palm trees. During the siege, he fell ill, and 2 Jewish scholars came to his tent and convinced him to lift the siege and embrace Judaism. He did convert to Judaism and brought the 2 scholars back to Yemen with him, spreading Judaism among the Himyarites. It is said that Abu Karib Asad al-Kamil was the first person to cover the Kaaba with a cloth. Around 518 CE, Tuba Abu Karib Asad al-Kamil's grandson, Du Nuwas, became the ruler of the Himyarite kingdom in Yemen. He besieged the Christians of Najran, forcing them to convert to Judaism. When they refused, he cast them into fiery pits. To avenge this atrocity, the Christian Abyssinian kingdom of Aksum attacked Yemen, and by 530 CE had ended Du Nuwas's Himyarite rule. By around 530 CE, the Abyssinians had fully captured Yemen, thus extending the Aksumite kingdom from Ethiopia to Yemen. The Abyssinian governor of Yemen was Abraha. He built a church in Sana'a and declared that he intended to make it the new Qibla, or direction of prayer, for the Arabs. This angered an Arab who defiled the church. Enraged, Abraha decided to attack the Kaaba and set out with an army that included elephants. There is some disagreement about the number of elephants. Some sources mention just 1, while others mention 9 or 13. As Abraha traveled from Yemen to Mecca, he reached the territory of the Banu Thaqif near Taif. They assigned a man named Abu Raghal to guide him. Abu Raghal died along the way, and later Arabs would throw stones at his grave, considering him a traitor to their people. When Abraha camped near Mecca, he sent his soldiers to spy on the area. They captured 200 camels belonging to the Prophet Muhammad's, peace be upon him, grandfather Abdul Muttalib. Upon learning this, Abdul Muttalib met with Abraha and requested the return of his camels. Abraha was surprised by this request and said, "I thought you would speak to me about the Kaaba, but you are concerned about your camels." Abdul Muttalib replied, "I am the owner of the camels, so I'm concerned about them. The house, meaning the Kaaba, has its own Lord who will protect it." Abraha returned the camels to Abdul Muttalib, who then dedicated the 200 camels to the Kaaba. After meeting with Abraha, Abdul Muttalib instructed the Quraysh to take refuge in the surrounding mountains. Before doing so, he held on to the door of the Kaaba and prayed to Allah for help. Reciting some verses, flocks of small birds appeared from the direction of the sea, carrying stones in their beaks and claws. They dropped the stones on Abraha's army, causing chaos and scattering the troops. Due to this incident, the year came to be known as the Year of the Elephant. The Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, was born in that same year, according to some accounts, approximately 2 months after the event. This corresponds to 571 CE in the Gregorian calendar, though some sources mention 570 CE. The Prophet's grandfather passed away in 579 CE when the Prophet PBUH was about 8 years old. Regarding the month of the Prophet's birth, the widely accepted view is that it was in Rabi al-Awwal. Some believe it was in Muharram, Safar, or Ramadan, but most scholars agree on Rabi al-Awwal. As for the specific date, various dates in Rabi al-Awwal are mentioned, including the 8th, 9th, 10th, 12th, 17th and 18th. The most accurate date appears to be the 9th, supported by the opinions of Jubair ibn Mut'im, Ibn Abbas and Ibn Hazm. Jubair ibn Mut'im was an expert in genealogy, a knowledge he had learned from Abu Bakr, R.A. Ibn Ishaq said about Abu Bakr, R.A., he was the most knowledgeable of the Arabs in lineage. 3 people learned this knowledge from Abu Bakr, R.A., Jubair ibn Mut'im, Hassan ibn Thabit, and Hakim ibn Hizam, R.A. Given this, Jubair ibn Mut'im's opinion holds significant weight. As for the day, it is mentioned in Sunan an-Nasa'i that the Prophet PBUH said he fasted on Mondays as a gesture of gratitude because he was born on that day. According to a narration in Sahih Muslim, the Prophet Muhammad PBUH had the seal of prophethood from birth, resembling a pigeon's egg. This seal was located on his back between his shoulders, below the neck. It was actually a raised gland of flesh, and some sources mention that it had some writing on it. According to one narration, his grandfather performed his circumcision, carried out the Akaka sacrifice, and named him Muhammad on the 7th day after his birth. The narrations stating that he was born circumcised are considered fabricated or very weak, while the narration indicating that he was circumcised after birth is less weak. Some narrations also suggest that the Prophet PBUH performed his own Akika after his prophethood. This narration is regarded as authentic by some scholars and false or denied by others. After birth, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was initially nursed by his mother. Subsequently, he was also nursed by Thuwaybah, the slave girl of Abu Lahab. There is disagreement about Thuwayba's conversion to Islam. Most opinions suggest she did not convert. After Thuwaybah, Halima Sa'diyah took the Prophet, peace be upon him, with her to the Banu Sa'ad region. It was customary among the people of Mecca to send their newborns to the countryside to be raised in a healthy environment and to learn the pure Arabic language. Women from various tribes around Mecca would visit the city once a year to take newborns with them. Halima Sa'diyah belonged to the Banu Sa'd bin Bakr bin Hawazin tribe. She arrived in Mecca with her husband on a slow donkey and a dry she-camel. While the other women in her caravan found babies to nurse, she did not. To avoid returning empty-handed, she decided to take the orphaned prophet, peace be upon him, with her. Women generally avoided taking orphans because they did not expect high compensation. However, once Halima Sa'diyah took the Prophet, peace be upon him, with her, she reported that their household was blessed with prosperity. Their camel, which had not given a drop of milk, was now full of milk, and their weak donkey began to run. The area of the Banu Sa'ad tribe was suffering from severe drought, but Halima's goats returned well-fed. Eventually, the tribe members scolded their shepherds, telling them to graze their goats where Halima's shepherd went. Approximately 2 years later, Halima Sa'diyah brought the Prophet, peace be upon him, to Mecca to meet his mother and, with her insistence, took him back with her, citing Mecca's harsh climate as unhealthy for newborns. Some narrations state that Halima Sa'diyah brought the Prophet, peace be upon him, to his mother every 6 months. As a result of being raised among the Banu Sa'd, the Prophet, peace be upon him, developed eloquent speech. Halima Sa'diyah's husband, Harith bin Abdul Uzza, was nicknamed Abu Kabsha. Abu Sufyan, may Allah be pleased with him, mentioned this to Heraclius, referring to the Prophet, peace be upon him, as the son of Abu Kabsha, implying that his influence had grown so much that even the Caesar of Rome feared him. There is disagreement about whether the Prophet's foster parents converted to Islam. However, the better opinion seems to be that both accepted Islam. Among the Prophet's foster sisters was Shema, who used to play with him. When she was captured during the Battle of Hunain, the Prophet, peace be upon him, treated her with the utmost respect.
يا رحمة للعالمين يا محمد